allowed it to happen.
Did she know?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, did she?
She opened the door.
How can a woman sit to the side and knowing that her daughter is being abused by this man, but she stays with the man?
Everybody was doing everything to each other, and if you didn't, you got beat, and if you did, it was just sort of how it was.
Did he ever do that to you?
Yeah.
Really?
My father would be in the bedroom, naked, on the waterbed. When I went in there, I would have to go in with my sister.
Oh, my God.
But I never had to go in by myself. I'd have to go in there, and we'd have to jerk him off.
Oh, my God, Angela.
My father had to go to trial. That's not true. He had to go to a hearing as opposed to a trial.
Yeah. At the point that the judge made the decision on custody, the next step would be to put them in jail. And your mom and my dad didn't want to put us through a public trial, which is what it would have been. We would have had to get on the stand in front of a jury, in front of open court.
It would have been televised.
Mm-hmm. And they made the decision that they didn't want that to happen.
Literally, it would be a miniseries. Because if it was 1979, you don't think, kids are being molested. You'd think, oh, just take the kids out. Mm-hmm. You don't think once a pedophile, always a pedophile. It's not like you change your mind one day. And all the kids were separated. Well, they went to live with their real father, and I went back to my mother. Their father told Lisa that I didn't want to see her, and that my mother didn't think it was necessary or didn't approve of us ever seeing each other. And he told my mother that Lisa didn't want to see me ever because she didn't want to be reminded of anything that went on in that house. And we, as little kids, believed him, and I was depressed for years. And at 18, I get this letter 10 years later. I don't know if you're going to remember who I am, but I lived with you. I was your sister once. So I found out what happened in the room when she would have to go in with my dad.
I can't stand waterbeds to this day. I hate them. I don't, it's not a conscious reason. There's just something about that repulses me.
She was too small for him to put his penis inside of her. So he would insert crayons and magic markers.
He did everything you can possibly do with a child other than actual intercourse. He was actually poised to insert and said, oh, not yet. We can't do it yet. When all this started, it was drilled into our head. Something that happens in people's homes, but you just don't talk about it. It's understood that you don't talk about it. And then, when we did talk about it and we went through court, everybody just made us feel like that is disgusting. We don't want to know what happened. Don't talk about it. Just get on with your life. This is something that was in the past. Just move on with your life. Don't even talk about it. And you get to the point where you believe it really is something disgusting, and you don't talk about it. And then it means that there's something wrong with you that happened to you. You have to sort of come to a place where you're ready to deal with it. And if you're not ready, it's not going to do you any good to talk about it.
It's amazing to me that he's not in jail. Amazing. I mean, he was the candy man. He owned that arcade. When I went and picked up those court papers?
Mm-hmm. They remember.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I was walking around. I'm like, wasn't there an arcade here once? And this guy at this hardware store goes, oh, yeah, it was some child molester. I'm like, wow, that's my dad. And then behind all that, my brother was molesting us. And he, to this day, will not talk about it. I'm going to try to get him to talk about it, but he won't talk about it. I haven't really talked to him since I was 8, 20 years. The last time I talked to him was when I was 18. I came down here like the black sheep of the family with all the court papers, and he completely avoided me then. And now we're going there, and I don't really know how I feel.
What are you looking for? What are you trying to get out of this? Is this a cathartic exercise for you? And if it is, I'm here for you 100%. Whatever you want to talk about, we'll talk about. Maybe by being so vehemently opposing it, in opposition of it, I was contributing to the culture of silence that goes along with this. Because that is the big thing. That was the big thing. After Lisa and I, after the trial was over, we weren't supposed to talk about it. It was something that was over. It was something they wanted us to leave behind. They didn't want us to dwell on it. So when this came up and Lisa called me and she said, well, I've already told Angie you're not going to talk to her. And I said, well, that may not be the case.
What do you think about what I'm doing?
Okay, God's honest truth. I think that you're looking for something. I think that you're working through something. And I hope that you find what you're looking for. I hope that you get out of this what you need to get. That's why I'm here. That's the only reason I'm here. I have no need to go back through all this. If I really wanted to sit down and have a pity party, I could say, you know, I was really dealt a lousy hand because I started off being molested. Then I wound up being gay in one of the most conservative areas of the country. My parents were small town people. They had no frame of reference for how to deal with this. I mean, some of the worst things that happened to me were things that people did for my own good. And I've had so many people ask me, do you think you're gay because you were molested? You know? Well, short answer, no. Long answer, yes, with a but. And I was directly in the middle of the Oedipal stage, and here you have a man who is offering me my mother sexually. And at the same time, he's her husband. I mean, talk about conflict. I was not his focus.
My dad used to make her pose.
Lisa was a pedophile's dream.
Insecure, little.
Yeah, and beautiful, incredibly beautiful, even as a child. And Lisa had, you know, a look about her, not a look that she cultivated, but Lisa had a look about her that he responded to.
I went through guilt, major guilt, because that's my dad.
The guilt that I went through was, and I think this is the guilt that most molested children go through, is that there was a part of me that enjoyed it. It was exciting. Because there is a natural inclination to be sexual.
Yeah.
But it was too early. It was just like you wouldn't give a 5-year-old a beer in their bottle. You don't give a child sexuality. They're not ready to handle it. And it took me a while to realize, just like you, sexuality is okay. We were just exposed way too early.
Yeah.
And by totally the wrong people. And some of the things that I have done have been the hardest things to deal with.
What you did to Lisa and I was only learned behavior.
That's by far the most horrible part for me. That is the thing that I've had the most difficult time dealing with. That is my nightmare. And I think that's probably one of the reasons that I've avoided you.
Well, I forgive you.
Thank you. I'm working on forgiving myself.
What you did was, learned behavior.
And the mental, logical side of my mind, of my brain knows that. But the emotional part of me is having to catch up. I want it to be okay for you. That's why I'm here. That's why I agreed to do this.
It is okay for me. It's just hard.
I know it is.
I'm so sorry for what he did.
It's not your fault.
I know.
Had nothing to do with you.
I know. But it's my dad. I feel like I'm on a crusade to fix all the things that he ever did to kids,
You can't fix it all.
I know. I can try.
I do like to help people, and I love the law aspect of things, and I really want to work with maybe special victims, elderly abuse, and rape victims, and child abuse, and I want to do that through the criminal justice system.
What would you